2 days, two very different couples. One, Catherine and William, completely focused on their duty above anything else, their country, their Commonwealth, their people. The other, the fake royals, now so intent on making money because they are on the bones of their ass that they will take the coin from corporates in stunts, I think, which actually continue to disgrace the royal family. As according to Taz posted, Psycho. In the new Disney documentary, they talk about favourite rides at the park. Meghan tells the reporter Harry's favourite is Space Mountain. She chose that ride because that's the one she practiced her Diana cosplay the hardest for in the mirror. And Tash, so good to have you, by the way. We've missed you. I know you've been away these past few weeks, so brilliant to have you back. And we've got so much to talk about, seriously. But I think these conversations are even more important because have you noticed the mainstream media in the UK, because they've done this total 180 on William and Catherine while supporting Harry and Meghan, have not spoken about this ridiculous Disney stunt, the ridiculous Diana cosplay, and just how bad things are getting now that Harry and Meghan are trying to ingratiate themselves at the royal family at the same time as they sell their souls and effectively now take money to appear in infomercials.
Yes, I think there's a lot of them, Dan, that are now eating their own hats. I mean, talk about another own goal that this couple do. The media plus Harry and Meghan's PR team, specifically Harry's, have been in overdrive trying to gaslight the public. Look, this is Harry. This is the fun Harry. Harry really wants a reconciliation. Harry's remembering what it's like to actually be a member of the royal family where you uplift others. And then, of course, a matter of days later, before his bottom is barely warm on the California couch, not only has the Guardian interview come out, again, which has just, I'd imagine, embarrassed all of these people that have been defending him, saying he wants a reconciliation. He's just doubled down. But this is pretty trashy and tacky. And we are seeing why they took the children to Disneyland. It's all part of a big freebie, a big advert, and who better to take than their very own little prince and princess.
But Tash, there is a cover-up going on. There is a major cover-up going on with the mainstream media because you raise the Guardian interview. There were so many landmines within that, but perhaps none more so than the fact that Prince Harry ignored British government advice to go and meet Volodymyr Zelensky when he had been expressly told not to. And from the mainstream media, it's like nothing to see here. And Tash, for me, why this development is so significant, and of course, don't get me wrong, it's much more egregious what he says about standing by all of his comments in regards to the late Queen and the current Queen and Catherine and William. But what the complete inability to even follow specific instructions from the British government shows me, Tash, is that this man is a traitor and he is treacherous in his behaviour. And no wonder William, and we saw it, by the way, outside the Duchess of Kent's funeral yesterday, no wonder William is so damn ropeable because he warned everyone in the media, within his family, in the British establishment. And he was ignored, Tash, and he's still being ignored, apart from by people like us.
Harry has proved yet again that he's a diplomatic liability. He's not just a liability towards the royal family because he does use his titles. This isn't simply Prince Harry. This is the Duke of Sussex. He does behave like somehow he is still serving the monarchy, serving the crown. Of course, we don't know that, but you see other news outlets, even in Ukraine, I saw some headlines come up saying Harry's there representing the UK. And he's not representing anybody other than himself. He was there purely as a representative of the Invictus Games to team up with superhumans. And the fact that this is the second one that I can think of at the top of my mind, as well as when he was in Canada and he met with, I think it was the Fourth Nations, the Fifth Nations, forgive me. But he said that he was going to open conversations to do with a lot of the issues surrounding that. And that's a conversation between the King, the Canadian government. And I just find him completely toxic on a level when it comes to his family. But that's small fry when you think of the problems he could potentially cause on the bigger picture, on a global stage. He was told not to see Zelensky, and he's still gone and done it and posed for lots of pictures, and he's still trying to pretend that he is important.
I mean, Tash, what did you make of this footage, by the way? William, and by the way, I'm not blaming him. I'm genuinely not blaming him for a second, because I feel his anger, Tash. But obviously, the sad thing is, Tash, and we know this for a fact, what Harry and Meghan have and what they continue to use as a weapon is Charles's grandchildren. And I think that's twisted.
It is very twisted. It's emotional manipulation. It was something that they did from the very beginning to try and manipulate the public. It wasn't just Meghan saying, as she sat there on Oprah's couch trying to muster up one tear left eye. It was the fact that she mentioned that they were unkind about her pregnancy because she was obviously a biracial woman, how brown the baby might be. They did that stinker of a lie, which I personally believe it's a big lie, because they wanted the thought of the children to emotionally manipulate members of the public. And in large, it did work for a large number of people, because they thought, oh gosh, it's bad enough they're being racist towards Meghan, but to a baby, how horrific. So Harry and Meghan have used those children from the very moment that she got pregnant.
I know. And I mean, Tash, it is just worth, by the way, given you've mentioned it, looking into some of those source quotes to Us Weekly, because what's so extraordinary about it is that we know, again, I like to be transparent and I like to explain. The editor of Us Weekly is a guy called Dan Wakeford. He used to be the editor of People magazine. He has a direct relationship with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle through People magazine. Us Weekly has tried to become the new People magazine and sort of like a very soft publication now that only does things that celebrities like. So I just like giving that context, because we know that these quotes are coming directly from Harry and Meghan. And if we just come to the article here, Prince Harry still has tension with Prince William and Kate Middleton. There's emotional distance. Well, no sugar, Sherlock. But then this is the source, Tash, and we know who the source is, okay? Because it's literally Harry and Meghan. We definitely do. There is still ongoing tension with William and Kate, a source exclusively shared with Us Weekly. They are deeply hurt by the public disclosures, memoir revelations, and interviews and criticisms of their role, which they perceive as breaches of trust that require significant time to heal from, which is why they aren't there yet. Okay, well, I guess that is some reflection. And then they're trying to say, Tash, that the reason there wasn't a meeting was because their schedules were not aligned while Harry was in London. I think there are a lot of other reasons for it. Then the source goes on to say, there has been no direct communication between aides like there has been with Charles. William and Kate haven't initiated or responded to outreach from Harry at all. They do need more time. There's emotional distance between the three of them. Again, understatement of the year. There are lingering resentments of past conflicts, including comments from Harry about Kate in his book. It left William guarded and needing more time to process before a face-to-face with Harry. By the way, you know these quotes are coming from Team Harry, because they are describing Catherine as Kate, which is something that Harry and Meghan do, Tash, to try and belittle her. But they're so delusional. They are so delusional, Tash, because it ends with the source saying there is still hope for a meeting between the brothers during the upcoming holiday season, but it's still too soon to tell. They will see how things pan out with what Charles and Harry discussed. One of the things was to keep his mouth shut and not talk to the press. And for Meghan to do the same. Once William and Kate can trust again, they may be able to come back into his life. I mean, Tash, there is just an extraordinary level of delusion.
I think not only is he trying to deal with the fact that he has been proved right to steer clear of his younger brother, he was also stuck next to Prince Andrew, who, again, much like Harry, is using the royals to try and improve his credibility. The reason why Andrew was stood alongside William and everyone trying to look jovial and laughing, the king, is because he knew the public would be watching exactly the same tactics that Harry's doing. And it's in hope, oh, if I'm seen with the royals, if I'm seen interacting with the royals, then I get a little bit of that royal stardust back. It's not going to happen for Andrew. It's not going to happen for Harry. But poor Prince William, I do feel in this scenario, exactly, he was really stuck there. You could see he was clenching his jaw. He has to tolerate Andrew because Andrew is still part of the family. He doesn't have to tolerate Harry in any way, shape, or form, because I don't believe Harry is going to get his foot behind the palace wall, potentially even with his father again, after he has yet again betrayed his father's trust.
And I mean, you could even see it, Tash, with Charles. And of course, there is a lot of reporting at the moment about just how tense things are between father and son. And Tash, again, I might sound like a broken record here, but I do not blame William. Because can we just think about what's happened over the past week? Because again, I feel like people are just totally trying to move on and ignore this. Charles ignores William, gives this massive olive branch to Prince Harry. Now, sure, the meeting was nothing like Harry's team tried to make out. It was formal. It was fast. He had to drive through the visitor's entrance. There was someone else in the room. But the fact is, Charles still went against William in order to, in some way, provide this olive branch to Harry and allow Harry to at least have a chance. And within 72 hours, Tash, he has totally blown it with that Guardian interview, despite making absolute promises to Charles that he would not talk about the meeting. He did. He may not have sat down and said, oh, this is what my father said, but he said, the next year is going to be all about my dad, suggesting, Tash, that the king's health is even worse than we had previously thought. So he had his chance, he blew it, but because the mainstream media in this country have been so craven and pathetic and desperate for some reason to facilitate this reunion, he's getting another free pass.
I'm on the fence when it comes to, well, in fact, I have a bit of a different opinion, I think, to some people with regards to Prince William perhaps feeling frustration towards his father. There's a bit where I think Charles was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. There was, because of Harry in his interview with the BBC in May, when he started the nonsense, I don't know how long my father has to live. And then he also confirmed to the interviewer that his father was not speaking to him. Up until that point, it was just pure speculation. But then from that moment, Harry had confirmed that he was being ignored. And it kicked up a lot of people saying that's not, Charles is the head of the Church of England. He should forgive his younger son. He should do this. And I think at a time when the monarchy is not doing so great, and I do believe it's King Charles that is, I mean, they were big, big shoes to fill after his mother. And I think there is a lot of things that are going on which have turned certain people against things that King Charles perhaps talks about, and the things that he associates with. And I just really can't help but feel that he tried to meet with Harry, and it was done in such a way, it was little more than a slot-in business meeting, because it stopped that in its tracks. Harry can't say I'm being ignored anymore. People can't say the king is being cruel anymore. And he did it, like you said. I mean, Harry basically came in through the tradesman entrance. So he's seen him. He listened to him. It was brief. It was perfunct. He was in and he was out. And Harry has completely blown it all up. So if the king now goes forward and says, right, I gave him a chance, people can't really turn against him, because he's still going to continue to ignoring him. I think even before I came onto the channel today, I saw US Weekly, we know is a proven, a chosen media outlet by Harry and Meghan. They apparently have an exclusive that it was an emotional. There were lots of hugs. Harry cried when he saw his father. So this is just the beginning, really. They're leaking like a tap already. So whether Charles did it as something calculated to shut it down, or whether the king did it a pure moment of it is his son, he does have cancer, he's going to give him a chance, it has proved that Harry cannot be given any more chances. He cannot be trusted. Oh, completely, completely. It is, I just, you can't even reason with your own thoughts sometimes when you read the stuff that comes out of Harry's mouth or Meghan's mouth, and you just think to yourself, am I in the twilight zone? Have I drank too much coffee today? Because they've got a team of people around them as well, which I'm pretty certain the people that worked on Harry's rehabilitation for those 4 days he was in the UK are definitely slumped under their desks, drinking bottles of wine as we speak, because of obviously he's blown it all up again. But yes, I mean, Us Weekly, that's a second article that they've done already since he's come back, and I just can't understand Harry's logic. He's obviously, whether he's doing it directly himself, like you said, or whether Meghan is doing it, or they're getting a team of staff to do it. That's what they did with, obviously, Omid Scobie and Finding Freedom. They don't directly do it, but they get members of their staff to go speak to these outlets. And they, revealing intimate details about Harry crying when he hugged his father.
Well, yes, I've got that too, Tash, to go through.
It's just madness.
It is. It's total madness. Because look at this. Inside the very emotional reunion between Prince Harry and King Charles after nearly 2 years apart, again, it is, tagged exclusive because, of course, this is all part of this war with Prince Harry. The war between People magazine and Us Weekly over Prince Harry. But you're completely right, of course, that the details can only have come from Team Harry. We know they're not coming from the king, Tash. The meeting was sparked by a handwritten letter from Harry earlier this year to Charles expressing his desire to reconnect. They were not sure it was going to happen until just in the last week, adding that the reunion was super positive and very relaxed. They were catching up personally about the children and what has been going on with Charles and his health. The source told us of the exchange. There were hugs and tears at the meeting. I mean, it's extraordinary, Tash. It is an extraordinary invasion of privacy.
Yeah, and Harry will be complaining soon about how the media, how they invaded his privacy, and he just can't keep his mouth shut about anything. This is exactly the same. We know where it's coming from. We know it's only their side that will be leaking details like that. It was the same as when they apparently got the children to sing happy birthday to the king and then what presents he'd sent. They just cannot help themselves. But I'm in two minds. Did Harry deliberately self-sabotage this? Because I can't see that even with his low IQ, surely even he would see this is bad if he wants to keep up with that royal continuity and trying to make himself still look like on a global stage he's part of the royal family. Or is this Meghan going, oh, I don't want him to get close to his family. I do not want Harry to start speaking to people that could bend his ear. Perhaps I need to completely nuclear blast this myself. And of course, Harry will be completely trusting, tells Meghan everything, and then all of a sudden we get the leaks. So Harry believes that someone else is leaking. It could never be Meghan. The calls are never coming from inside the house, and it blows up the conversations. Harry will think that the palace are leaking on him because he's paranoid and delusional, and the king and the royal family will go, see, there you go, everybody tried to tell you, and that's the drawbridge pulled up again.
Indeed.
But
and I think you're completely right in terms of it could be coming from Meghan, of course, but I still think, come on, Harry's a 42-year-old man. He cannot be that thick anymore. Because, I mean, Tash, the details were just... good point. But the details were just so intimate, right? Like this is the type of thing you get, and I say this all the time, from like a D-list celebrity. You don't have Taylor Swift briefing on private meetings like this. It's just so cringe. But again, I'll share it because it's out there, and I think we have to acknowledge that this has come from Harry's side. According to the source, the mood was genuine and positive during the Wednesday royal reunion. They added there was even laughter, despite the pair not having been in the same room for nearly 2 years. They shared a long hug when they first saw each other. Harry started crying, and it was very emotional for both of them. They really missed each other. The source continued, it was a short window of time, but Charles agreed to it because the timing worked out for him and it was a good opportunity to meet while Harry was in London. They met at Clarence House because it's the King's home, and it was chosen because it was an intimate, less formal atmosphere compared to Buckingham Palace. They wanted an intimate setting to ease back into their personal connection without any pressure. According to the same insider, the reunion took place because King Charles felt the timing was right and that their rift needed to be addressed. They needed to come to some sort of resolution, and they both feel the same. I mean, it's an extraordinary level of detail, Tash. It's the type of detail that's very personal, and we have not seen about any royal private meetings since, I know, Harry and Meghan, since they left. You know, it's like, again, William was right.
Yeah. Like you said, it's got that corny cheesiness, isn't it? That level of almost Mills and Boon sickly sweet writing, which we know, well, who writes and talks like that? Meghan. So, yeah, I mean, if anybody, the fact that it is an exclusive, yet again, coming from one of their chosen outlets, it is the tiny, cheesiest details, which you really don't need to leak. It feels far too intimate. People don't really want to know about it anyway. You know, it's nice that he met with his father. That would have been enough. But the fact that these details are so over the top, it's so manipulative. Yeah, it's definitely coming from Camp Montecito as far as I'm concerned.
Tash, I wanted to take you through the reporting from Tom Sykes on the reunion. He has actually been, I think, very balanced and very fair on the whole thing. Although certainly over the past week, he's moved much closer to the fact that until the Guardian interview, Harry really was doing well and re-ingratiating himself. So I just want to take you through this, Tash, and get your reaction. He says Prince Harry's tour worked. This is William's worst nightmare. Prince Harry's barnstorming tour of the United Kingdom crowned by tea with his father shows just how right William was to want to keep him far, far away.
The headline immediately creates a dramatic emotional narrative. It suggests that Prince Harry was reportedly in tears during or after a private interaction connected to King Charles, while also accusing Meghan Markle of revealing intimate details from the meeting. The phrase royal fury implies that members of the royal family were angered by the alleged leak and viewed it as a betrayal of trust. This type of framing is highly effective online because it combines emotion, secrecy, and conflict in a way that instantly captures audience attention. However, the title itself does not clearly explain where the information came from or whether the claims have been independently verified. Any story involving private conversations within the royal family automatically becomes major news because the monarchy is traditionally associated with secrecy and controlled public messaging. When reports emerge suggesting details from private meetings have been leaked, audiences immediately become curious about what was supposedly said behind palace walls. Over the years, public interest in Harry and Meghan's relationship with the royal family has intensified due to interviews, documentaries, and Harry's memoir, all of which offered rare insight into royal life. As a result, every new report about family communication or reconciliation is treated as a major chapter in an ongoing public story. The emotional wording in this headline is extremely important. Phrases like, Harry was in tears, royal fury, and leaks intimate details immediately create a sense of heartbreak, betrayal, and escalating conflict. This style of language is commonly used in celebrity and royal media because emotional storytelling generates stronger engagement than neutral reporting. The audience is encouraged to imagine highly dramatic private scenes even before any direct evidence is presented. That emotional framing is one reason stories like this spread so quickly across social media and entertainment platforms. At this stage, there is no publicly verified evidence confirming the specific emotional claims made in the headline, including whether Prince Harry was truly in tears, or whether Meghan Markle personally leaked private details from a meeting. What is publicly known is that tensions between Prince Harry and parts of the royal family have been widely reported. There have been ongoing discussions in the media about possible reconciliation efforts, and royal commentators frequently speculate about private meetings and family dynamics. However, many reports involving emotional reactions and private conversations rely heavily on unnamed sources and insider claims that cannot easily be independently verified. This story is also a reminder of why media literacy matters when consuming viral royal content. Viewers should always ask, are the claims supported by verified sources? Are direct quotes available? Is the information confirmed publicly or based on anonymous insiders? And is the headline exaggerating emotion to increase engagement? These questions help separate factual reporting from speculation-driven entertainment content. Because in many cases, the emotional intensity of a headline becomes far more dramatic than the actual evidence behind it. So while this viral story presents an emotional narrative involving Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and King Charles, much of the controversy appears driven by speculation, anonymous sourcing, and highly sensational framing rather than fully verified information. As with many royal stories, the combination of private family tension, emotional storytelling, and public fascination creates a powerful formula for viral engagement. And that is exactly why headlines like this continue dominating social media feeds, entertainment coverage, and online discussions around the world. Thank you for watching, and be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below.